What's going on? Welcome back to Jiu-Jitsu Outlet. I am here with Richie Jewell. Richie is a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And we were just talking before the podcast about how both of us are on the autism spectrum. And I know that that's something that we connected with on. I think that you made a post on social media that I really resonated with. And yeah, it just made me want to reach out and have you on the podcast and just kind of hear your story. So let's start off with this, man. How has training in jiu-jitsu for the last 3 years, how has this helped you with your mental health, specifically with being on the autism spectrum?
My journey in jiu-jitsu has been insane for the past 3 years. So it's a lot to cover. It's almost like a love story. It has some triumphs, it has some tragedy and whatnot. So it's gonna be like interesting for some people to hear why it's a love story in some retrospects. And first off, I got into jiu-jitsu because not by choice, but I was a huge wrestling fan growing up, and one of my best buddy I became friends with got me into jiu-jitsu because he was a black belt at the gym. So he got me into it, and not by choice. And at that time, I didn't have a lot of friends, just a select few. I was very, anxious to start because, performance anxiety, social anxiety. And now here I am a few years later, I have friends and that I can rely on, trust, and train with. So it's a lot to uncover all these amazing, wonderful sport known as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So
I know. And you mentioned specifically it's helped you with like building friends and, having a community. That's something that I resonate with a lot too. Like, can you share a little bit more about that specifically? Like, how has it helped you with, interacting with other people and stuff like that?
Well, you kind of see the other people every day. You just, you could go to play, like back then you just didn't have anyone else to go with. Now you just kind of go to certain places. You can go to jiu-jitsu tournaments, you could go to go out to eat afterwards, or go to certain events like wrestling events or sort of. And now you're just having fun. Now it has built. Jiu-jitsu does help people, whether it's like mental health or social problems or help increase self-defense. So it does help. So I advocate this for people. So, and for heaven's sake, I see Tom Hardy, is doing this to help his mindset, and he's a blue belt. So
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I see a lot of people these days kind of stepping up with this message about like how jiu-jitsu has helped them and how it's helped them in their different, in their lives in different ways. So let's talk about this. Earlier, you mentioned that jiu-jitsu and your story with it was almost like a love story. Like, can you tell us a little bit more about that? And yeah, what's it been like for you these last couple of years as you've kind of gone through the hurdles of becoming a white belt, getting your blue belt, and yeah, just tell us about all that.
So how I got started, I got to meet one of my best buddies. His name is Mike Palladino. He's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I became friends with him around 2018. We started to get to know each other as wrestling fans. We're just like being guys. I'm just like starting around Muay Thai around 2019. So I did striking for a little bit just to feel the groundwork at first, get to know everybody at first, and just to see what it's like, just kind of tapping my feet in and whatnot. And because it's almost like getting cold water at first, and then once you adapt to it, it's kind of warm. So that's what martial arts is. I was tapping my feet in just to test the waters. And then around autumn time of September 2019, I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So at first, I didn't know what I was getting myself into because I just see like teenagers go into it, and I've seen kids go into it, and I thought I started too late because of the spectrum and whatnot. But no, I see people like in their 40s or 50s, they're just starting out, and it's just been a blessing ever since I started. And then as time went along, about a month or two later into training, I started suffering from like seizures off the mats due to autism. So, and I've been a series of seizures, like 2-3 times, and I've been in the hospital once for it. So, and I went to like a neurologist, and they said I couldn't do competitions ever again. And so I've been focusing on, try to get cleared for jiu-jitsu, and then try to focus on my grappling skills. But the one thing that has been onto me is that I wanted to compete at tournaments one day. So it's been a crazy journey that I've been in for the past, like, leading up to it too. So, which I'll get to very shortly. But as time went on during the pandemic, I stopped training, and I just like to take my time with jiu-jitsu and whatnot and get my game up a little bit. As soon as I got back on mats, things were good. I've been keeping myself healthy, seizure free, and it's just been an amazing love story, because there's so much memorable moments out of it, some roadblocks, some ups and downs. That's what jiu-jitsu is like. It's a crazy love story.
Yeah, man, I feel that. And I think that you're talking about some really deep stuff in terms of overcoming adversity. And how did you feel after having had a seizure and gone through some really significant mental health issues? How were you able to then bounce back and get to the point of getting to a blue belt? Can you kind of take us through what you had to go through mentally to get that blue belt?
Sure. So after my second seizure, I thought, I was like, this is it. I'm probably never going to do this again. And, thankfully it wasn't anything serious like a tumor. My neurologists looked at it, and they said it was autism related. They told me I could never do tournaments, could never drive, can't swim alone, and all this stuff. And it kind of left me heartbroken for a bit. But one day I was like, I got to get back into this. And fast forward to 2020 to 21, I saw one of my friends of mine compete at a Tap Out Cancer, and she had a broken back, and she rehabbed it tremendously. And next thing you know, she won a gold. And I'm just like, I looked at it, I was like, you know what? If she could win with the broken back, and I was like, what if I could come back from this, just at least participate in a tournament, see what happens. And next thing you know, I put this into my mindset, just try to get clear from doctors and whatnot, but they wouldn't give me a time of day. So I'm just I was determined to get back in the tournament. So, and all of a sudden I kept getting healthier and healthier. I've been after 2 years of being seizure free, I decided on my own accord that I would participate in a tournament in Connecticut, which is back in February of this year. And it's been insane. And, I've been moving to a new place. I had a skin infection prior to the tournament. So it's just a lot to balance. So what I did was I lost like 15 pounds, 20 pounds for the tournament. And it was crazy. As a white belt, it was my first tournament. So I remember just like having 30 people like watching my matches. And I'm just like, this is crazy. I'm just getting into the moment pretty much. Like everyone watching me compete because of a crazy story that I have. And I lost. I lost all my matches, but the most important thing I did was I just survived. I didn't just win or lose. I just survived. And that's all that mattered to me. And I learned from all this. And black belt of the gym, Mike, promoted me after the tournament. At the tournament, with a blue belt with an autism awareness emblem striped to it, and right in front of everybody. And it's been an insane emotional moment to say. It's a culmination of everything that I dreamed of, because it's just like, oh my gosh, now I'm a blue belt. I got promoted at the tournament, after losing my matches, and I was just participated in a tournament after being told no by doctors and doing it anyway. That's just absurd, but I did it anyway. So in a ways, we have a love-hate relationship. You know why I did this? It's because jiu-jitsu has a good, strong, great relationship with me for my heart, and it helps my mind. It mental disciplines my all the baggage that I have, whatever like someone's going through, it helps erase that evil doubt in your head, whatever anxious you're going through. It just eliminates that. It's like therapy for everybody. So I call it a crazy love story for everyone who has it. So I'm basically controlling my narrative. That's what I'm doing for jiu-jitsu. So,
Man, thanks for sharing that story. That's super powerful. And you're a really good storyteller too, man. Like you're it's a very emotional. I can feel the emotion that that had on you, and the powerful impact that it had on you that moment. So I know that you said that was back like a couple months ago. Can you talk to us a little bit about like what have you gone through in the last few months since you've gone through that experience? Can you kind of take us through like what have you noticed in your life? Like how have you changed since you had that kind of transformative experience?
So after I got my blue belt, I wanted to focus more on helping like develop white belts for a bit, and sort of give them hope that, hey, if this guy can do this, so can I. Pretty much give them good challenges for roles. I've been on several podcasts, for jiu-jitsu stuff, just by hearing the story alone. I mean, it's like, it's just been a crazy experience. And I give good challenging roles. I've been, I just recently signed up for a tournament called Gammon. It's pretty much IBJJF tournament. And it's going to be in Connecticut, the same building where I got promoted. So it's in Newtown, Connecticut. So it's really crazy. And, just for me to go back to the same place where I got promoted just to compete again, hopefully there's some poetic justice to it, because Gammon's a challenging tournament, but, just to say I did it, that's more important than to anyone else, And
Richie,
now being an autism where, yep.
I was just gonna say, I think you and I might be on the same wavelength, but I was gonna say, yeah, how do you want to spread more awareness about autism? Like specifically, you mentioned earlier wanting to spread more awareness around it. I know that's something I'm really passionate about too, but yeah, like what do you want to talk about? What do you think, I guess, needs to be talked about more when it comes to autism?
So every time I literally you read my mind, because that was the next thing I was going to talk about. So, but that's okay though.
I
But
got you, bro.
I guess
I
it
got you.
happens. But what I'm doing is, every time I go to a gym, maybe once a week, I would wear an autism awareness gi that has puzzle pieces on it. That's what I wore at the tournament. And I have an autism awareness rash guard that I always wear. So in a way, I wear the jiu-jitsu blue belt that has autism awareness pieces on it, whether I'm either competing or whether I'm just training. So it's a crazy, it's a wonderful thing. I'm doing autism awareness advocacy since I was, adult pretty much, but this is like the ultimate version of this, and I'm not saying like I'm the first guy with autism to do jiu-jitsu. I just like to be one of the good responsibles and advocates for autism awareness, like pretty much one of the pillars pretty much as a goal, and I'm pretty sure there's some other badasses too at it, at one point,
I love
that
it,
I like
man.
to roll with.
I love it, man. And I hope that we get to meet up and train sometime. And dude, this is
Oh yeah.
awesome. But I know we got to wrap this up here in a minute, but yeah, is there anything else that you want to talk about, or anything else that you I guess, like, let me put it this way, is anything that you wish that I would have asked you that you would like to talk more about?
Well, I always loved, where would I be, So if anyone is like watching this video right now or listen to this interview, however they want to do this, my suggestion is don't try this at home for what I did, because jiu-jitsu can drive people crazy. But I look at it as, and this applies to life too. So if you want to get things done, you got to like pretty much control your own narrative, do things on your own terms, be a badass at your own adversity and be against it. And then afterwards, you just become a warrior at the end. So, and then that's how everything works. And that's what I pretty much did for my ongoing jiu-jitsu journey, because things are going to continue like crazy. It's almost like with me, and whether it's pro wrestling for me, or me or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, me or cinema, because everyone with autism has their own love, But this is why I consider jiu-jitsu as a crazy ongoing love story, because I look at it as a triumph and struggles, like triumph as, whatever promotions, whatever people's you impacted. And then there's also the struggles with the injuries, with the skin infections, with the let me see the best way to say it. Injuries, and then the medical issues that come on, and whatever struggles you're dealing with, just remember you're on a ride, a big, huge roller coaster ride. And I think it's still a spectacular thing. That's what I would do. Just enjoy the ride, because it's only going to get crazy. And if anyone does starts jiu-jitsu, just learn to have fun and enjoy the ride. And just for those who are struggling right now, just remember, keep showing up, be consistent, and just remember, you'll always be better than the first day you show up.
That is so true, man. And like, there's so much wisdom, I think, in what you said during this interview. So if you're listening to this is I think Richie has a really great story here, especially of just kind of someone who put themselves out there. And like, man, I just really want to commend you on someone who just like really sees this life by the horns, as they say in those commercials. What, like you know what I'm saying? Like you really didn't make any excuses, which is awesome, because a lot of people, they struggle with mental health stuff, or they struggle with something like a seizure. And then they're just like, oh, well, the doctor said that I'm done, so that's it. And they just make excuses. You know what I mean? Like they don't ever try to bounce back. But you really did do it, man. You bounced out of that darkness that you were in. And now here you are on the other side of that, and you were able to achieve this big goal of getting a blue belt. And it sounds like it had a really profound impact on you, man. Like that's awesome. So congrats, man. Like that's
Hmm.
such a big accomplishment. And I'm really glad that you're going this angle of like wanting to promote autism awareness, and like just trying to spread more awareness around this sort of thing. Cause like something I've been talking about a lot is just, I think autism is like really underdiagnosed. I think there's a lot more people who are autistic than we think, man. But yeah, thanks so much for coming on the show. And I really appreciate you, Richie. But yeah, like before we wrap this up, is there anything else you want to say, or just anything that you want to promote, or anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah. So yeah, just remember to be unique and be original, and because everyone else is taken. And if anyone's interested, I have an Instagram at Richie_Jewell92. If anyone wants to follow me, so and just be your badass, your own selves.
I love that, man. You should put that on a t-shirt. Be original, be unique, because everyone else is taken. That's
Yeah,
like I could see that on a billboard somewhere.
let's hope so.
Well, hey, I appreciate you, man. And if you're listening to this, go check out the show notes, and I'll put all the links to connect with Richie down there. Richie, thank you, man. We'll have you back sometime to do another episode. Thank you, bro.
You got it, man.